There are many sites out there that uses 3D animations to make their sites interactive. Now we're looking at Bruno Simon's website here, and as you can see, you can control the car to navigate the website. And also there's GitHub with this sort of 3D map of the world that uses live data to animate the GitHub commits, and you can interact with this 3D map, and you can roll it around and look at different areas. So these are the amazing things that you can do with three.js. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to create basic interactive cubes that you can hover over, and the color changes, and if you click on them, it animates and it enlarges, and then it grows back to its original size. And as you can see, the animation is smooth as well. So I'm going to be using a spring animation here to make a spring, smooth animation. So you'll be learning that too. So we're going to be building this in React and 3, and also be using a spring animation as well. So if you like videos like this, please subscribe to my channel, and let's get started. So as you can see, I've already run npx create React app, and I've got a basic application running already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete some files that I don't need. So I'm going to delete setup.test, so setup.test.js and app.test.js, and then also the logo svg. And then I'm going to go into the app.css and delete that import logo. And also, I'm not going to be using app.css. I'm going to put everything in index.css. So I'm going to delete app.css as well. So simplify that as well. So I've got these three basic files. So the app.js and index.css and index.js. Okay, so we're going to be working with these three. So for this demo, I'm going to be also using a useRef and a useState. So I'm going to import that too from React. So it's going to be useState and useRef. Okay, then I'm going to be installing React Fiber. So I'm going to do npm install 3 space react -3 -fiber. Okay, so I've already run this, so you need to run this to install and use React Fiber, React 3 Fiber. Okay, so I'm going to go to the top. So I'm going to import that too. So it's import from @react -3, and it's /fiber. Okay, so the components that we're going to use are canvas, and we're going to also use frame. Okay, so canvas is with the area that we're going to draw the 3D objects, and use frame is for animation. So this is basically what you need for simple drawing 3D objects and do some simple animation. So now I'm gonna just clean up this. So I don't need all this in the app part. So I'm gonna just have a canvas element that's gonna output our 3D object. And before we continue, I'm going to go into the index.css, and I'm going to delete all this, and I'm just going to put in some basic. So I'm just going to paste in some basic styling for the HTML body. I'm just going to give it a width 100 and height 100% and margin padding 0. Okay, it's just a simple sort of resetting all these elements. Okay, that's all we need. So I'm going to go back to the app.js. So in our canvas, we're going to have a component called cube, and then we're going to create a function for that. It's going to be function. We'll call it cube. It's going to accept props. And in this function, we're going to be rendering a mesh. Okay, mesh is it's going to be the actual 3D object, and so we're going to have a constant called mesh, and this is going to reference that element or component. So it's going to be a use ref. So it's going to be a return, and we're going to be returning a mesh. So in our cube, we're going to be rendering a mesh, and this mesh will have a reference to a mesh use ref. And inside our mesh, we're going to have a box geometry. Okay, and this will have arguments, and this will equal to curly brackets, and it's going to be an object, and it's going to have 3 attributes. So it's going to be width. So I'm going to just give it a width of 1, 1, 1. Okay, so we'll make it 2, 2, 2. All right, we'll make it 2, 2, 2. Okay, so it's got a height, width, and a depth. Okay, that's what these 3 numbers are for. So this box geometry will display a cube. Okay, so just minimize this. Okay, so if we go to terminal, new terminal, and run the server, so I'm just going to do npm run start. Okay, so if I go to the server now, just to refresh, okay, so got a sort of a gray box there. So this is 3D. So we're looking at the front. So and it's not. We can only see the other sides if we turn it at an angle and things like that. Okay, so let's go back now, and what we can do now is add some color to this. Okay, so to add color and texture and things, so we need to add mesh, lowercase mesh, and its basic material. Okay, and that we're going to give a color. Color is equal to open close curly brackets and inverted commas, and it's going to be orange. Do that, save, and go to the browser. Okay, now it's orange. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add some animation to rotate it, so we can see it from different angles. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next. So to animate a cube, we're going to use the use frame hook we imported here. Okay, so I'm going to say use frame, and we're going to call it with a callback function. And so it's going to be an arrow function, and what we're going to do is we're going to access the mesh object. I'm going to say current, and then we're going to access the rotation of the x-axis, right? And then we're going to say plus equals to 0.01 unit. So this will update the frame at particular intervals, and it will change the rotation by 0.01 units. So if I save this and check on the browser, okay, there you go. So it's rotating it. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to add some light to this, and so that the side with more light it will become brighter, and then on the lesser light, the areas, you see sort of a shadowy shade to it. Okay, so in order to do that, we need to make some change to this. We got mesh basic material. Now this only allows you to do basic sort of flat colors, so you can't do different shades. So what we need to do is change that to mesh standard. So just change the word basic to standard. That's a capital S. Okay, that's all you need to do on the mesh for the cube. Okay, now we go down, and in the canvas we're going to add ambient light. Okay, and then closing tag, and then we're going to add a point light. Okay, and this is going to have a position, so that we're going to shine it into a particular area. So it's going to say position equals to open close curly brackets, and it's going to be an array of 3 numbers, 10, 10, 10. So that's the position for this light, and there's a closing tag there. Okay, so I'm going to save this, and if I go, so now you can see sort of a darker shade color as it sort of revolves around. The top becomes brighter and the bottom becomes darker. So that's how you add these lighting effects to it. So just remember that basic is just for flat colors, and if you want to add light, then you change mesh standard material. Next, we're going to make our cube interactive. So what we're going to do is when you hover over the cube, it's going to change color. So in order to do that, we're going to use a state variable for this. Okay, so in our cube function, we're going to say constant and open close square brackets. Oops. And we're going to say hovered, comma, set hover, and it's going to equal to use state, and I'm going to set it to false. Okay, so and in our mesh which contains our cube, we can in 3 you have handlers for hover in and hover out events. So it's called on point over and on pointer out, on pointer, sorry. So we're gonna use those attributes. So it's on pointer over, and it's equals to curly brackets, and we're gonna have an arrow function for the callback, and it's gonna say event equals to, it's an arrow function, sorry, and so we're going to say set hover and to true. So what we're doing here is when it hovers over, we're going to set the hover state to true. Okay, and then when we hover out, when we leave, so it's going to be on pointer, and it's pointer leave, or no, it's out, on pointer out. Okay, so that equals to curly brackets, and it's a callback function, event equals arrow, and it's set hover to false. So this will so basically all is toggling the hover state when it enters, that's on pointer over, on pointer over, and on pointer out when it leaves. It's going to set it to false. So now we've set the state. Now we need to change the color. So we need to go to the mesh standard material where we're setting the color here. So what we need to do is we need to set a ternary function. So we're going to say hovered question mark, and we're going to say if it's true, if it's hovered, then we're going to set it to hot pink. Okay, so, and then if it's not, so you put a colon there. What we're doing here is, if it's hovered, then it's hot pink. If it's not, then it's orange. Okay, so if I save that, go to our and hover. Okay, so if I hover over it, it turns to pink. If I hover out, as you can see, it's turned into orange. So that's how you make it interactive. So there are other interactive attributes that you can apply. So these are the basic ones here. So all we've done here is we changed the color using a ternary and on the hovered state. So if it's true, if hovers it's true, then it turns hot pink, otherwise it's orange. Okay, next we're going to add some more interactivity to our cube. So what we're going to do is when we click on the cube, we're going to enlarge it. And when we click it again, it will go back to its normal size. So, so we're going to toggle the size of the cube. Okay, so again, we're going to use a state variable for this. So I'm going to go to the top of our cube, and we're going to say constant, and open close square brackets, and we're going to say active, comma, and set active. Okay, and that's going to equal to use state, and we're going to set it to false again. Okay, so now we're going to go to our mesh element where we've added the hover handlers, and we're just going to add an on click handler this time. Okay, so when it clicks, when you click on it, we want it to call a callback, and we're going to say again event arrow function, and we're going to say set active to not active. So basically every time you click on it, click on our mesh, which is our cube as well, it will toggle the active state. So if it's true, then it'll make it false, and if it's false, then it'll make it true. So once we've done that, we can also add a property called scale. Okay, so and open close curly brackets, and here we can say if it's active, so it's going to be a ternary expression. If it's active, then we're going to say the scale factor is 1.5. Okay, if it's not active, then it's 1. So if it's active, then we want to scale it up. If it's not active, either if it's false, then it will be normal size. Okay, so this property will scale it. So, and we're using a ternary expression, so we can toggle between the two sizes. So these ternary expressions are quite useful in this case to toggle between different property values. So if I save that and go to our the browser, okay, so if I click on it, it enlarges. I click again, it goes small. Click again, enlarges. Click again, it goes small. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the cube and then give it a position so that we know how to position the cube, because at the moment it's just putting it in the center. So first of all, I'm going to duplicate the cube in our app. So copy and paste that. If I look at, okay, so it's duplicated, but it's just in the same position, so you can't see it. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to give it a position. So to give a position, just do a position and equals to, and you give it three values, which is sort of x, y, and z. Okay, so it's like the 3D positioning values. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the first one a oops, I've got square brackets there. Sorry, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna first one is gonna be let's say minus 1.2, and then it's gonna be 0, 0. So the y and z is gonna be 0. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy that and then paste it for the second one, but I'm gonna change that to 1.2. So this is going to be sort of moved to the left from 0 position. This is going to move right from the 0 position. So if I save that, and also because we're using this, we're passing this attribute to the cube component, we need to destructure it. So it is passed in here. So we need to destructure it here. So all I need to do is curly brackets, open close curly brackets, and dot dot dot, and props. So that will destructure that the values. Okay, so if I save that, there you go. So I've got two cubes. If I click on it, and it enlarges. And when you hover over it, it changes color. Now, one thing that we can improve on is the the animation. Now, as I click on the cube, it sort of jumps. The animation sort of jumps, and we can make this smoother by using spring animation. So if I go to the the three fiber documentation page. Now I'll leave the link in the comment section. Now there is you can use spring animation to create smooth animation. So that's what it's sort of explaining here. So you can install React Spring with 3 using this command, and then you can use it. It tells you how to use this with React Fiber 3. So basically, you create a constant and you use Spring Hook to get values for your animation. Then you use that in your mesh element. So, but you have to rename the mesh element as animated.mesh, and then you apply the scale. You set the scale attribute to scale, which is the spring value. Okay, that's how you do it. That's what we're going to do. And then you can also sort of set some configuration to make it wobbly. So gives you an example here. So if I click on it, it sort of smooths and sort of has a little jump kick to it as well. So that's what we're going to do next. So going back, so I've already run npm install. So you'll need to run this so that you can use it in your application. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and import it into app at the top. Okay. So then we need to create a constant, and it's I can just go back and copy that part. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that. Okay, so I've got an error at the moment, so that's all right. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to say constant spring equals spring, and the scale is active. So we got the active state already, so set already. So this will be related to the state variable. Okay, so if you called your state variable something else, then you have to change it here as well. Okay, so then what we need to do is we need to change that to mesh to animated dot mesh. Okay, and the end tag is animated dot mesh. Okay, and then we need the scale will be using the springs. Okay, so I think if I go back, I think we needed to copy this, not this one. I copied that. So you can use that as well. It just uses a different way of doing it. So I'm going to use this because we're calling it scale. Okay, so this is sort of destructuring that value. Okay, so I'm going to copy that and go back. Just replace that with that. So it's destructuring scale from use spring. Okay, so and then we're using scale here. Okay, so all I've done is imported use spring, and I've used this use spring hook to extract the scale value, and then I'm using the scale value here. Okay, in the mesh element, and I called it animated dot mesh. Okay, that's how you should be animate dot mesh. If I save that and go to our browser, just to refresh, and it is animated. So sorry, so it's animated. Okay, so save that. Fresh. Okay. It should be smoother now. There you go. So going back, so it's animated, not animate, and you know, you set the variable here, constant scale equals uSpring scale, and then you're using the state variable to set you know, the scale factor. And so it's you know, it's just a little bit of a different way of specifying it, but you know, but it makes the animation much smoother. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and please subscribe to my channel, and see you in the next video.